What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Kaged Review. My name is Kevin Jackowitz, and this is my spoiler talk for Wonder Woman 1984. You have to give me at least one day. I have a lot of things I have to do, but I have to get my green screen, and I'm in a transitional thing, so just bear with me. This will be the last time you have traffic in the background. But, getting to the movie. Directed by Patty Jenkins, you have Gal Gadot as Diana Prince or Wonder Woman. You have Kristen Wiig as Barbara Minerva, you have Pedro Pascal as Max Lord, and of course you have the returning Chris Pine as Steve Trevor, which is a big issue with this entire movie with me. So I kind of talked at the beginning when I did the non-spoiler review about how I really like the opening sequence that you have young Diana. She's still a little girl, she's in Themyscira. I couldn't remember the name of Themyscira on my first review, but they're doing like this version of the Olympics, and it was a really cool sequence. I really liked it, and there was this part in this kind of triathlon where young Diana cheats. She sees this dirt path that kind of goes down and cuts off this like longer winding path that everybody else is going through. So she cheats, she takes a shortcut, and just about as she's about to win and throw this spear through a hoop to signify she's won, her mom grabs her and says, "You cheated, you can't win like that." And so there's this little discussion, and they point out this golden armor that was kind of like a prize. And you think that maybe somewhere down the line in this movie, this sequence is going to go somewhere, but it doesn't. It goes absolutely nowhere. There's no moral to a story. There's actually several places in this movie they could have used a moral. They could have used the moral when they start making wishes on this stone that I talked about. We'll get into that in a second. Diana Prince is making a wish. She's losing her powers. They could have had a moral of the story there about cheating to get what you want. Kristen Wiig, they could have had the same moral there for her. They used none of it. So it was really completely pointless. After that, I talked about how Diana Prince goes into this mall. She's stopping this robbery. It was really just poorly done. Overacting, bad writing, bad direction. None of it was good. So at this point, you kind of already have set the standard for what this movie is going to be. But it gets so much worse because now you have Max Lord, Pedro Pascal. And I got to tell you that I actually think that Pedro Pascal was probably the highlight of the movie. What he was given was crap, but he went all in on it. And I absolutely commend Pascal because he's an amazing actor. Everything that I've seen him in personally, he's absolutely killed. And this was no different. It's just what he was given here was crap. Having said that, there is this little wish stone that he knows about. We don't know how he knows about it, but he knows about it. And so he is trying to find this artifact that is in this museum with Barbara Minerva, who works there, and Diana Prince is there also. And so he gets this stone, and his wish is to become the stone. Here's the caveat. He gets to grant wishes to people, and then he takes away their most powerful asset. So he gets power from granting these wishes. And this is how everything starts kind of unfolding and unraveling, really. Because Diana Prince, before they even know what it is, makes a wish. And her wish, obviously, she wants Steve Trevor back. And so this is where things really start to suck in this movie. There's really no other way to say it. So she gets Steve Trevor back, and what she loses per this wish is her power. She starts to lose her power. But here's the unique thing about her. Everybody else just loses something automatically. Her power is slowly drained throughout 3/4 of this movie, and it is prolonged, and it makes no sense. One minute she'll have her power, the next minute she won't, and it's done very conveniently for the story. And I really did not like how they did that. Barbara Minerva, she wishes to be more like Diana Prince, Wonder Woman. Except she doesn't know that Diana is Wonder Woman, and so she doesn't understand yet that by making this wish, she's starting to get powers. And so she's this really, really unorthodox, kind of bumbling character. Every cliche about a geek that has come into their own that you've ever seen in a movie fits in right here. And it was terribly done. It really was. I've seen it done in so many movies and honestly done so much better. So now we have Barbara Minerva. She's getting all these powers. She's becoming what she later describes as the apex predator. Men in this movie are just all evil. You know, they do the women's independence things they did in the first movie, which was, you know, I don't care. It's not a big deal. But it was done so much better in the first movie. Here it's just all men are evil. And it was stupid. But one signature moment is there's this guy, she's walking home from a dinner date with Diana Prince. He's all creepy. He's physically pushing himself on her. Diana comes to her rescue, and then when she gets her powers, she revisits the same guy, except she damn near kills him and just, you know, literally kicking him down the street. And so that was kind of a telltale thing. Let's get into the Steve Trevor thing, though. This really, really, really did not make sense. It really bothered me throughout the movie, and bothers me even more now that I've actually watched it twice, because I wanted to rewatch it for these reviews. So she wishes to have Steve Trevor back. He comes back, but in a really, really weird way. There's this party that Diana's attending. She sees a bunch of people there, and at the end of the day, there's this random guy who says something that Steve Trevor said in the first movie, and what happens is they do this like cam circle around the character. They do a little spin shot, and it's this random guy, and then when they pull the camera back, you see Steve Trevor's face. And I am like, what the hell is going on here? None of this makes any sense whatsoever. I don't get it. It was poorly done. Later on, you kind of figure out that you see Steve Trevor's face because that's what Diana Prince is supposed to be seeing, but you don't establish that right away, and it was really poorly done. So they kind of carry throughout this whole thing that Diana Prince is now in the relationship with this guy, and he's still that guy in their world, in the movie. Like, it's whoever this dude is. It's his face. They see him. They don't see Steve Trevor. I don't know why they didn't just bring Steve Trevor back from the wish. Like, if you're making a wish and things happen like that, why did he have to take over somebody else's body? It just didn't make sense. I didn't like what they did with that at all. So Max Lord, he figures out how to become this stone and get power from this stone, grant wishes, take people's power. And he goes all over the world doing this to oil tycoons and leaders and presidents, and he's granting them wishes and taking their power, and the world's becoming more and more unstable. And then they get to this penultimate moment toward the end of the movie where they have to figure out how to make just absolute chaos. And so what they do is they Willy Wonka this shit. They literally talk about how, like, there's particles in the waves for watching TV, and if people are watching TV, he's touching them through these particles. It made no fucking sense, because the whole thing is they had to physically be touching him to grant the wish. And so now we're at this point where he's granting wishes through everybody who's watching this program. And so, like, the whole world is watching, and he speaks to everybody in English, and they all understand him, and so they're all making wishes. And they got this weird part where he's in this, like, movie studio or TV studio, and he's just like, granted, granted, granted. And it was just so stupid. Like, they couldn't have thought of anything better. Like, I'm not saying that I could have made a better movie, but also, I'm not a baker. But I know when the temperature has been up too high and you burnt the outside of the cake and the inside is still dough, and the cake sucks. This movie sucked. Like, it was bad all the way around. So, here we are. Diana confronts Max Lord, and there's this big sequence where everybody's granting these wishes, and then they had this big speech from Diana at the same TV studio where she convinces everybody on Earth to revoke their wishes. First of all, that would never happen. And I was actually watching a review where they were talking about how, isn't it amazing how, like, everybody in the world made, like, selfish wishes, and nobody was good. Nobody, like, they were talking about how, like, nobody wished for world peace or cures for cancer or whatever. You know, it was just selfishness. And that's just not reality. But it's even less reality that every single person would then revoke their wish after making it. It just doesn't make sense. Going back to Barbara Minerva, there is a point just before this TV studio sequence where she wishes to be the apex predator. She's on a plane with Max Lord. They're kind of teaming up for a moment. So she grants the wish, and then here comes Cheetah. And oh my God, you want to talk about a disappointing first look at Cheetah. When they do the first close-up to the face of Cheetah, it looks like something I would have done when I was 12 years old on Halloween. It was horrible. The makeup looked ridiculous. The suit was horrible. I don't know if it was suit or CGI, but either way, it was terrible. And like I said in my first review, I believe that Cheetah was put into this movie to have a physical confrontation with Diana Prince, because the whole thing with Max Lord and Diana was kind of a battle of emotions and good triumphing over evil kind of thing. You know, people still being good at heart, that kind of motive. Which works if it's done well, but it really was not done well here. But the physical fight here wasn't really done well either. It was at night, it was dark, it was a lot of wire work, it was obvious. And then at the end of the whole fight, Barbara Minerva is in water with Diana Prince, and there's electrical lines, and finally the electrical line hits and fries Cheetah. Diana Prince gets out of the water. Cheetah should be dead. Like, there's no getting around it. She should not have survived this. But somehow she does. And then at the end of the day, she even revokes her wish, even though she's like the main villain of the movie, really. And it's just not believable. So, one of the big things with Max Lord was, throughout the movie, he's trying to gain power, but there's this son that he has that just wants to spend time with his dad. And so that was kind of like the turning point for Max Lord. He gets a vision of his son in a precarious spot. He decides that what he's doing actually is affecting the world and now affecting his personal life, his personal family. So he revokes his wish and tries to go find his son. I have not really much problem with that, but everything else in this movie, it was just nonsensical at best. And I love Patty Jenkins, man. She has done so many great movies. And after the first Wonder Woman, I talked about how I felt like this was a very highly anticipated movie. I thought she could knock it out of the park. And I don't know what happened here. There's no way to say it other than that. I don't know if it was something with, like, filming during the pandemic and everything was kind of shut down for quite a while. I don't know if it was rushed or if they had to just finish it up for whatever reason. But it was not good. It was not put together good. The direction was not good. The writing was terrible. There was just so many plot holes and, like, cheesy moments that I just wouldn't expect here. So at the end of the day, I think I gave this a C, and it was just pretty bad all the way around. Really, really disappointed. So my next review is, I gotta hit some Walking Dead. I'm gonna do Mortal Kombat, and I'm gonna do the Zack Snyder Justice League. And then I'm gonna pick up with this year with Black Widow, Shang-Chi, the Suicide Squad. And yeah, man, it's gonna be a lot of work and a lot of fun. So I'll talk to you guys later. Let me know what you guys think about, like, my opinions of this movie, because I know it's like very, very maligned by most fans. I think this was one of those movies that I think pretty much across the board people did not like. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz, Kaged Nation, out.